everyone, it is Mark Berman from TVMI. I am coming to you from 45th Street and 9th Avenue between 9th and 10th, New York City. I am with Scott Weinberger, who is the CEO and founder of Weinberger Media. Hello, Scott.
Great to be here, Mark. Thanks
It's nice to have you. It's nice to have you. You know, it's interesting. I was looking at your background, and I thought, you know, this is really quite fascinating what you've done. And basically what I would like to do is I want to talk about your projects now,
Sure.
including Paul Azan, who we see in the background. But I want to kind of like delve into how you got to where you are. So let's start from the very beginning. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up here in New York City, specifically in Bayside, Queens.
Oh, in Bayside.
Yeah. And born originally in Brooklyn,
Right.
but moved at an early age. I didn't move myself. My parents moved to Bayside, and I lived at Bayside for 20 years.
Did you? I come from Kew Garden Hills.
Yeah, so I had a great upbringing in Bayside, and fortunately for me, my parents loved being here in New York and loved the whole atmosphere of New York. So I got to take advantage of that at an early age. And then I think probably around 1980, my family moved to Florida, as a lot of New York Jews do. They ended up moving to Florida. And eventually I followed to pursue several different careers. And one of them was in law enforcement.
Well, I wanted to ask you about, because obviously you really began in law enforcement down in Broward County, was it?
Correct.
What did you study in school? When you were in school, what did you want to do?
Well, originally I wanted to be a lawyer, and until I realized how much work actually went into, book work went into it.
Right.
And so I knew I had a love for the law. I just wasn't really sure, Mark, what part of it I wanted to be involved in, maybe a prosecutor one day or something, but eventually I found that being out in the field, helping people, talking to people, relating to them on different levels was important to me.
Right.
So that's what led me sort of to Broward County and an opportunity to work at the sheriff's office there.
And when you finished school, did you immediately go to the sheriff's office? How did that work in terms of how, you know?
Well, originally when I came out of school, I was also a musician, so I was kind of like playing on the weekends and doing the music thing. I went to St. John's University here, also in Queens, in Jamaica, and then eventually didn't use anything I learned in college towards my law enforcement career. But you know, life experiences really brings you in different paths in different ways. So I really felt like, and I always still consider to this day, my law enforcement career to be the backbone of everything that I do.
And how many years did you work in law enforcement?
Specifically 10 years.
10 years.
Two different agencies.
And you were, per se, what is it, the sheriff of Broward?
Deputy sheriff.
Deputy sheriff.
Yeah, there is a sheriff who is sort of like the police commissioner here in New York City. He's the head of the agency. Right. And then everyone commissioned under him are officers or deputies. The difference really is in a city, you're considered an officer. In the county, you're considered a deputy sheriff. And
were you basically in the field most of the day?
Yeah, I began my career as a patrol officer or patrol deputy, which meant answering routine calls, doing traffic stops, and so on and so forth. And then eventually moved up within the ranks and became a detective, a canine handler with a dog, and then worked in narcotics, and then got a great opportunity to work with the U.S. Marshal Service in the fugitive strike team, where we chased fugitives from all over the southeast U.S. to sort of bring them back into custody.
So you did that for 10 years. Now, can you talk how you segued into a career basically in media? How did that happen?
Well, I mean, when I worked at Broward County Sheriff's Office, the new show Cops had just come out, and I was asked to participate in the show, and it was sort of unique to me to be able to understand how the process of the television series worked. The camera guy rode with you. He was with me for a couple of weeks. That ended up being an episode. And one day I said to him, Mark, I said to him, hey, how much does it cost to do this show? You know, just being inquisitive. And he said, well, $50,000 a week. I said, wow, that's a lot of money. And they said, yeah, but we sell them for $400,000 an episode. I said, you know what?
You like this.
I got to do that one day. And then eventually that camera person introduced me to a person who was a reporter at a local TV station in Fort Lauderdale. And I became a really unique friendship with that person. And eventually learned that side of the business, that side of the crime scene tape, so to speak. And eventually learned how to become a reporter. Left law enforcement and became a TV reporter in a very small market in West Palm Beach, Florida. And began my journalism career at that station.
Now, talk to me a bit. I'm curious about Cops because just the other day I had the opportunity to sit down with the people involved with Hardcore Pawn on True TV, and that's a docuseries.
Correct.
That documents life in a pawn shop, selling pawning things. That's what they do. But Cops to me was kind of a different animal in the whole genre. It started in '88, ran for endless years. Was that completely real? Was basically what you saw is what happened?
Absolutely. Probably more real than any reality show
I would think so.
you'll ever see. And there's a lot of reasons for that, Mark. I mean, obviously, it's the legal community where you can't reenact something in the scene. I remember within my first week, the camera guy, I was making an arrest for narcotics, and the camera guy wasn't able to capture me retrieving the narcotics from the suspect, and said to me, "Hey, deputy, could you just kind of do that again?"
Sure.
No, I can't. So it is as real as it gets. I mean, obviously there's editing that goes on, but the editing is not in the action or in the material. The editing is just how to tell the story in much quicker steps, because what we see in Cops is these little segments that lead up to the end of the arrest.
And I'm guessing, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're doing a show like this, there really is never a shortage of stories to tell.
No, I mean, if you're in the right area in the city and you're with the right person who helps tell you that story, you can go on forever.
Well, let me ask you this. You obviously have made a career out of this, working in this type of storytelling. What is the fascination for an audience to watch this? Because obviously there is an endless appetite. Whether it's reality like Cops, whether it's the CSI franchise. What is the appetite? Why do people watch this?
I think there's an inherent desire for people to follow the investigation, especially if it's real. And you can get these ripped from the headline stories that become so interesting, but it's never as interesting as real life is. And it's the whole I want to watch a train wreck. People like to watch other people go through certain situations, certain scenarios. I always say, my little saying is, crime does pay, especially on television.
It does.
And it's become a genre that has attracted a broad audience. I mean, for the Paula Zahn show, just for a second, the majority of our audience, maybe almost 80% of them are females.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And we always, the saying is, it's not really about the murder, it's about the marriage. So if you're with somebody, if you're a woman at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday night watching the Paula show in bed, you may be looking to the person laying next to you and say, is he capable of that?
Sure.
Is that possible? So I think there's a complete fascination with the process of a crime show and the procedural nature of what we do in law enforcement.
And the Paula Zahn show, you've been doing that now for how many years?
Well, we just started our 11th season last Sunday.
Amazing.
So we've done 150 plus hours. She's a fantastic journalist.
Sure.
And she really gets it. And she's sort of one of these people that are very hands-on. So often you find hosts that are reading the copy and coming in and doing the beginnings and the ends of the show. But Paula really reaches into every aspect of every interview. And it's made the show the success that it is.
And this is probably the mainstay of Investigation Discovery.
Well, it was the first original show Investigation Discovery ever had.
Right.
When I pitched it in 2008, originally 2009, they only had reruns of old crime shows, 48 Hours. They had Dateline, but at that time, they had Stone Phillips doing Dateline.
Phillips.
And when I worked at NBC, Stone worked at NBC, and had been 5 years since he had been on the air there, but they're running shows as if they were new. So when I approached ID, back then, I had said to them, how would you like your own franchise? And they never thought they could afford it, but we kind of showed them the path about the way it could work for them and how it could help brand the network. And here we are, X number of years later, 11 seasons, and it's become the cornerstone of the network.
It's a total cornerstone every year. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your investigative reporting days and into how you got into this. But we're going to take a break. I'm going to sign off for today. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to pretend we're coming back tomorrow. We're really going to be sunsetting.
I'm not moving. I'm going to stay right here.
So we will see you back tomorrow here at TVMI. See you then. Take care.